I still remember waking up at 4:30 a.m. that January morning in Chicago. The wind howled outside my tiny apartment window, and the temperature had dropped to 15 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. The radiator clanked and sputtered, barely warming the room. I wrapped myself in 3 blankets, stared at the ceiling, and asked myself the same question that had haunted me for months: what am I doing here? 20 years later, I can laugh about that morning. My name is Rania, and at 50, I look back at my journey from a small town in Gujarat, India, to becoming a business owner in Chicago with a mixture of disbelief and pride. The path wasn't straight, and it certainly wasn't easy. In India, I was somebody. Here, I was just another foreigner trying to fit in, I tell the young entrepreneurs who come to my mentoring sessions. Their eyes widen when I explain that I arrived in America with $2,000 in savings and a suitcase full of dreams bigger than my bank account. Growing up in Gujarat shaped me in ways I didn't fully appreciate until I left. My father owned a small fabric shop, and my mother taught at the local primary school. Our house buzzed with conversations about business and education. From age 10, I helped my father manage inventory and negotiate with suppliers. By 16, I knew I wanted something bigger than our small town could offer. Education is your ticket, my mother would say, pressing my school books into my hands. She was right, though the ticket would take me farther than either of us imagined. I studied business administration at Delhi University, graduated at the top of my class, and worked for a manufacturing company for 5 years. Life was comfortable, predictable. My parents started suggesting potential husbands. My path seemed clear. Then a visiting American professor spoke at our company about global business opportunities. Something clicked inside me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I researched MBA programs in America until sunrise. 6 months later, I was accepted to Northwestern University in Chicago with a partial scholarship. My parents were proud but terrified. No woman in our family had ever lived abroad alone. America is not for people like us, my father warned. They won't understand our ways. The first year proved him half right. Chicago winters shocked my system. American classroom dynamics confused me. Students challenged professors openly, something unthinkable in India. Networking events filled me with dread. My accent became a source of shame when people asked me to repeat myself. I called home once a week, always saying everything was fine. I couldn't bear to tell my parents how I cried myself to sleep, how classmates formed study groups without including me, how prospective employers would smile politely at interviews but never call back. The turning point came during spring break of my first year. Too broke to fly home and too proud to admit it, I stayed in Chicago while classmates went to Mexico or Florida. A neighbor in my apartment building, Mrs. Kelly, an elderly Polish immigrant, noticed me sitting alone in the laundry room. "You too, huh?" she asked, settling beside me with her basket of clothes. "First holidays alone are the worst." Mrs. Kelly invited me for dinner that night. Over pierogi and stories about her arrival in America in the 1970s, I recognized a shared experience that transcended our different backgrounds. "Nobody tells you the hardest part isn't the work," she said, pouring me tea. "It's feeling like you don't belong anywhere. Not here, and after a while, not back home either." Her words released something in me. I cried for the first time since landing in America. Mrs. Kelly didn't offer platitudes or solutions, just understanding. The next day, I approached my studies with new determination. I wasn't just earning a degree, I was building a life. During my second year, I landed an internship at a consulting firm specializing in international business. My background became an asset rather than a liability. I understood cultural nuances American consultants missed when dealing with Asian clients. My boss noticed. "You bridge worlds," he told me during my performance review. "That's rare and valuable." After graduation, they offered me a full-time position. The salary, $75,000, seemed astronomical compared to what I would have earned in India. I sent money home each month, relieving my parents' financial worries. On paper, I had succeeded. The reality felt different. 60-hour workweeks left me drained. I helped American companies expand into Asian markets, yet I rarely saw my own culture reflected in my daily life. Dating proved complicated. Indian men often expected traditional behaviors I'd outgrown, while American men sometimes viewed me through stereotypes. After 7 years at the firm, I hit a wall. A promotion would require more travel, more hours. My father's health was declining. I felt stretched between continents, never fully present anywhere. One weekend, browsing a neighborhood street festival, I discovered a small shop selling handmade textiles from around the world. The owner, recognizing Gujarat patterns in my dress, struck up a conversation. She was retiring and needed to sell her business. The idea took root immediately. Within 3 months, I had purchased the shop with my savings and a small business loan. I renamed it Threads Across Borders and expanded the inventory to feature artisans from regions facing economic hardship. The learning curve was steep. Retail hours differed from corporate life. Cash flow problems kept me awake at night. The recession hit small businesses hard. The shop barely survived its first 2 years. What saved me was community. Customers became friends. Other immigrant business owners shared advice and resources. I joined the local chamber of commerce and started networking with genuine interest rather than obligation. Business is about relationships, my father had always said. In America, I finally understood what he meant. As the shop stabilized, I noticed young immigrants visiting with questions about starting businesses. Many had professional degrees from their home countries but struggled to find equivalent work in America. They faced the same barriers I had: limited networks, cultural misunderstandings, lack of startup capital. I began hosting informal mentoring sessions on Sunday mornings before the shop opened. 5 people attended the first meeting. Within a year, we needed a larger space at the community center. We discussed business plans, loan applications, tax requirements, and cultural navigation. Today, our mentorship program has helped launch over 120 immigrant-owned businesses in Chicago. We've created a microloan fund that has distributed $450,000 to first-time entrepreneurs who don't qualify for traditional bank loans. "You made it look easy," a young woman from Vietnam told me last month. I laughed. "I showed you my successes, but trust me, behind each one stands a mountain of failures. I make a point to share those failures now. The time I misunderstood tax laws and faced a $12,000 penalty. The cultural misreading that cost me a major supplier. The months I worked without salary to keep employees paid during downturns. People don't need perfect role models. They need honest ones who prove resilience matters more than unbroken success." At 50, my life looks nothing like what I imagined as a girl in Gujarat or even as an MBA student. My shop now has 3 locations across Chicago. I teach a class on immigrant entrepreneurship at my alma mater. My parents, now in their 80s, have visited America twice, my father proudly telling everyone about my daughter's American businesses. My greatest satisfaction comes from watching men succeed. Last year, Amir from Syria opened a restaurant featuring his grandmother's recipes. Maria from Colombia launched a digital marketing agency specializing in multilingual campaigns. Both hired other immigrants, creating their own bridges. The question that haunted me that freezing Chicago morning, "What am I doing here?" has found its answer over time. I'm not just running businesses, I'm creating spaces where people can bring their whole selves to work. Where heritage becomes innovation rather than obstacle. To anyone starting over in a new country, your background isn't baggage. It's perspective others don't have. Your accent isn't a flaw, it's evidence of your courage to learn another language. Your struggle isn't weakness, it's the foundation of your unique strength. America didn't give me success, it gave me opportunity. The distinction matters. I built my life here brick by brick, mistake by mistake, lesson by lesson. You will too. The journey between worlds never truly ends. 20 years later, I still call my mother every Sunday. I still miss Indian monsoons. I still sometimes feel like an outsider at certain gatherings. The difference is that I no longer see belonging as something others grant me. It's something I create daily through connection, contribution, and courage. What will you create with your journey?